Parents, your efforts to build faith in your children can produce a lifetime of benefits. Listen to what these young ones say about the paradise.
In paradise, everyone is happy, they have fun, and it's a very beautiful place.
You can live forever in paradise so you can become friends with everyone from all over the world and become one big family.
In paradise, there are mountains, forests, rivers, lots of flowers, and you can hear people singing and laughing. It's exciting.
You can't really go near animals and play with them now, but in paradise, they won't hurt you or try to bite you, so you can play with them and have fun. I want to have a race with the cheetahs in the paradise.
In paradise, Satan will be no more, so fun will continue forever. The meek will possess the earth, and they will find exquisite delight in the abundance of peace. Now I can recite the scripture by heart.
Right now, there are a lot of disasters and crimes. But in paradise, there are going to be lots of good and happy things. There will be smiles everywhere.
I'm sure many of you watching who, like me, come from a Jehovah's Witness background, who were raised as Jehovah's Witnesses, you will have found this almost certainly very triggering. I found it triggering because I was once one of those kids who was drawing pictures of paradise, who was drawing pictures of lions and elephants and giraffes, and drawing himself into this artwork, having fun in this fantasy that my parents were selling to me, were peddling to me based on what they knew to be true from their Jehovah's Witness indoctrination. And it's just so wrong. It's so wrong to exploit the innocence of children in this way. One thing I am glad about in this particular segment is the way it refers to animals like cheetahs one day being harmless.
You can't really go near animals and play with them now, but in paradise, they won't hurt you or try to bite you, so you can play with them and have fun.
What this means is that there will be no carnivores in paradise. All carnivorous animals, such as cheetahs, such as lions, such as sharks, will forget that they're carnivores and will just start munching on vegetation. Or I guess, what, seaweed, if you're a shark? I don't know. You tell me. But that's the deal. That's what they understand to be the case. And it sounds outrageous, but that is honestly what Jehovah's Witnesses believe. I'm glad they've referred to it here. It would have made a lot of sense for them to omit that particular part. But at least credit to them for including that ludicrous teaching that apparently creatures like lions and cheetahs will one day forget that their pointy teeth are not for munching on grass. I mean, have you ever been near one of these creatures? I take my kids to Zagreb Zoo on a fairly regular basis. They love it there. I have my issues with seeing these beautiful animals kind of caged up and in many cases obviously depressed and bored. But it is very fascinating to be up close to some of these creatures. In the lion enclosure in Zagreb Zoo, you can climb right to the top where, like the highest part of where they go. And every now and then when you go in there, they'll be lying right up against the glass. So you're like centimeters away from an actual lion. and you see how big they are, and you see how muscly they are, and you think, this is just a killing machine, you know? No way is this ever going to let me cuddle up to it, you know? Or maybe it will for a brief while before it realizes that I am actually quite a tasty treat, you know? It's just such a preposterous idea, and yet this is what we were taught as kids, growing up as Jehovah's Witnesses, and they still have this teaching today, this completely unscientific teaching that goes against everything we understand about biology, that various species will entirely forget their food source, entirely forget their place in the food chain, and start exhibiting completely different behaviors. Isn't it clear how backwards this organization is with its theology, and it's pushing it on children?
Caleb and Sophia's dad said that it's good to picture yourself in paradise.
Because you can rejoice in the hope.
By thinking about myself in the beautiful paradise, I can be patient during hard times.
I want to live with my family and animals in a tree house with a swing and a slide.
Here in paradise, birds are singing happily. This is me and my family.
I want to meet David. It's because I want to know why he had so much trust in Jehovah and how he could be so courageous.
I want to meet resurrected Daniel in paradise and ask him how he felt when he was thrown into the lion's pit. Jehovah promises so many fun and happy things. I think he is a kind God.
Jehovah is really powerful and has a lot of wisdom. And he is also kind. I think he is just really great.
Jehovah never lies, so all his words come true, and he is a very loving God.
Jehovah loves you, young ones. He wants you, your family, and all who love him to be in paradise. Learn all you can about the Bible, and when you do, you'll make Jehovah your best friend.
Yes, you young ones will make Jehovah your friend if you believe in the paradise, if you accept it without question. Because why would Jehovah lie to you? Why would anyone lie to you about this? This is all going to happen one day. There were a few interesting things in this particular part of the segment. First of all, you had the young girl talking about wanting a tree house with a swing and a slide. That was what she was looking forward to. And I thought that was a really good metaphor for how most people look forward to the paradise. They think of things that actually they could have now. I mean, I accept not all children will have parents who can buy them swings and slides or will be able to build them tree houses. But the point is, it is actually something that you could have now. Just like there are parts of the world that are absolutely stunningly beautiful that you can travel to. Just the other day, I went to Plitvice Lakes National Park here in Croatia. I mean, you can check it out on Google, but it's this stunning natural wonder where you have lakes cascading into other lakes, you have waterfalls, you have lush green vegetation, you have these wooden walkways where you're walking along with the water cascading just centimeters away from you, and you have crystal clear water that's filled with fish. You can see right to the bottom, And it's very much like you might imagine paradise to be, as predicted by Jehovah's Witnesses, only you can go there now. If you can afford it, that is. I mean, not everyone lives in Croatia, obviously, and many people live so far away that it would be difficult for them to afford a plane ticket. But isn't that the point? You know, these places exist now. These experiences are to be had now, in the here and now. What's holding most people back from experiencing them? Well, in the case of children and their swings and slides, it's because their parents are endlessly chasing God's kingdom and doing what they can to support the organization, so they can't necessarily afford to get their child a swing or a slide or build them a tree house. And in the case of places like Plitvice or the myriad other natural wonders that you can experience around the world, most Jehovah's Witnesses are too impoverished by their upbringing, where they were dissuaded from pursuing higher education, to be able to afford plane tickets to these places. And yet they exist now. We have paradise now. It's just that Jehovah's Witnesses are, you could say, disproportionately prevented from experiencing it, because everything's supposed to go towards the organization. All of their time, all of their attention, all of their resources, as we've heard in this month's episode, are supposed to be hurled at this organization that's promising them paradise. And the irony is that the word paradise barely appears in the Bible. There are 4 occasions in the New World Translation where the Bible uses the word paradise, and in only one of those instances is it talking about a literal earthly paradise. When Christ is being impaled next to the sinner, he says, "You will be with me. Truly I tell you today, you will be with me in paradise." That was supposed to be talking about the literal paradise, according to Jehovah's Witnesses. The other 3 instances are all talking about metaphorical paradises. So, if it's really God's plan for the vast majority of mankind to be living in a paradise, he's very poor at communicating this. You know, he's literally not using the word, or barely using the word paradise in the Bible. And yet this is such a central teaching for Jehovah's Witnesses that they're pushing it on children. And again, those of us who've been raised as Jehovah's Witnesses can all remember doing this, can all remember doing these drawings and doing these paintings. It was so real for us. And yet the actual basis for it is so tenuous. It's just verses that were predicting prosperity for the Jews if they obeyed God. The lion and the lamb will lie down together. The child will play near the pit of the poisonous cobra. All of these were just metaphors for telling the Jews that they would prosper if they were obedient to God. And yet they are taken super, super literally by Jehovah's Witnesses, to the point where they're telling children, oh, one day lions aren't going to bite you. One day cobras aren't going to poison you. They're going to forget who they are. So it's all just so messed up. And then you have these children talking about how much they want to meet Daniel and David and these various Bible characters. I've said it before, but it bears repeating. You know, the Earth's population, if you bring back everybody who's ever lived, it's going to be about 100 billion or thereabouts people who've ever lived on the planet. And apparently everyone wants to meet these Bible characters in particular. If you are a resurrected David or Daniel or Noah, you're going to get tired of these questions. You're going to get tired of your fans very, very quickly. I'm sorry. Yeah, it just doesn't make any sense, does it? When you actually think about the detail. The more you think about the detail of paradise, the more you examine it closely, the more it just falls apart and fragments, because it's all based on a misreading of the Bible. And yet this is what's being pushed on children.